So we have the card then for folding, and as in the previous video, it should look, it's this area here. Okay, so I've used my Score Buddy, which you can see underneath, which is a piece of graphics equipment. I'm just going to move that out of the way. Then what I've got is my fold lines. So the card has been scored down, so it cuts out the need for any scissors for me. But like I say, you can use scissors and cut yours. So there's the waste. Just remove that, and then I've got the paper ready to go, and I'm going to put now the pop-up on there. So last week we drew a cake. This one's going to be a little bit more, a little bit simpler. So what we need to do first of all is fold this in half. So I'm going to fold it up just very neatly, making sure that the edges here and here line up. Do a nice fold across the bottom. So there now is the inner part of my card. What I'm going to do now then is introduce some other little bits of graphics equipment to make my life a little bit easier. Going to use the engineer's rule. Okay, so links to BTEC Engineering here, and also I've got myself got this off the internet, off Amazon. It's a T-square ruler, and it works quite well with my cutting mat, because what I can do is off this edge here is move it up and down, and as long as my paper is on the horizontal at the bottom, then I can always draw, you know, a perfectly straight line. So you can see it tying in with the grid lines on here, and you can create some measurements that way. So these are little bits of graphics equipment that you can use. This one wasn't too much. I think it was about £4 or something like that, £4.99 delivered. And obviously you've got a cutting mat. So over the past couple of weeks I've introduced you some little graphics equipment, little pieces of graphics equipment that you can use, and you can do little projects at home, maybe keep yourself busy over the summer. So all the measurements that I'm going to use are 50mm. Okay, so I'm going to use this time, I have got my safety rule, which I can use as well. So there's another piece of graphics equipment. I'm going to use my engineer's rule because the 0 is just this edge here. Okay, so anything that I put it up against always starts at 0, or a datum, the start point. Okay, so I'm making sure that I'm at the bottom there, and I'm just going to do 50mm along and a little line. Again, I come over to this edge, I'll set it at 50, and I'll go to the 0, the start of the rule, and I'm just going to do a little dot there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, again, using my T-square ruler, I'm going to make sure that my page is, this is very important, don't have it like that. Okay, it needs to be flat and square against the bottom. Okay, and what I can do is I can bring my rule down, I can line up the two dots that I've got. Okay, I know that that's at 50 in and that's at 50 in. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change round, and I'm going to use the bottom this time, and I'm just going to draw a vertical line up using that dot, and again go up, use the dot, and I'm going to use my T-square this time and make sure that I'm at the 50. So I'll come along, I'm going to do dot there, go along, dot there. I can swing it around, and this time making sure that the edge here, so this is flat up against that side there, and I'm going to look for my two dots, holding it in place, and I'm going to draw across there the top, and we're just going to draw a rectangle. Okay, so I'll go over it so that it's nice and dark and you can see it. Same with this side. And they're all nice parallel, nice and what I call square, and you've got a rectangle. Okay, so as I've said before, this is just a simple pop out. Okay, so it's going to open up and we're going to put a design on the inside. Okay, so this will be the inner of the card. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to cut it. So again, being very careful, we need to get some scissors, and as in last week, we're going to cut up towards the top and just go a little smidgen past it. Right to the top. Okay, and this time I'm going to push that up, okay, into there. So open it up with the pencil, and then I'm going to push it over. I'm going to push that through. Okay, like so. And we want to make sure, again, pull this down, and we're going to make sure that these edges here are lining up, and that we pull this down, press, it's quite tricky, so that we've got a line. And I'm going to use my folding tool again. I'm just going to, or my creasing tool, sorry, whatever you want to call it, and I'm going to push all these down so that we've got this pop up, and this time the card is going to have the design on there. Okay, so it's going to pop out and the design will go on here. Alright, so again, you need to have that effect, so have it looking like, so you've got the like a C shape there. Okay, again, you can use the edge of your scissors, but just make sure all the folds are nice and neat, and then we're ready to start designing and coming up with some ideas for the middle. Okay, off you go.